Well, hello again. I'm Gail White of Dynamic Divas of Destiny. And can you believe it? Another week has gone by. The month of October just gone. But we're here. We've got a little bit of time left, and we're in the middle of a great discussion about breast health awareness because October we have designated as Breast Health Awareness Month. And tonight, this is the grand finale. So hold on to your seats. First, we're going to do a quick Q&A type of a review with Dr. Marta Cordell of Thermography Center of Dallas. And she's been our speaker. She's been our guide for the entire month. If you missed the first three live streams, be sure to go back to the Facebook page, Dynamic Divas of Destiny, and take a look at those recordings. Really some great information that she gave there for all of us. But for everybody who's been following along with us, I want to hear what action you have taken. You know, when you learn something new, you have to do something different. And that goes along with the saying that we've been repeating over and over during the month of October, says that to know and not do is to not know. And so we know something different. We got to do something different. So I'll start off, and anyone in the chat who wants to put, the kinds of things that you have been doing, we'd love to hear about that. But here are the things that I've done. Week 1, I trashed all my underwire bras and everything that didn't fit right and everything that was too tight. Dr. Marta said that's number 1 for breast health. And so I did that. Week 2, I made an appointment for my follow-up examination at the Thermography Center. It's been a year and it's ready for me, time for me to get evaluated again. So I did that. And last week, I went on the website and took the free breast health survey. So I learned something new. I did something new. I'm all caught up. How about you? So this week, what we have is something really exciting. I want to bring on our speaker, Dr. Marta Cordell, and we will begin the broadcast for today. So hold on one second. Let's get Dr. Marta in the studio.
Hi there.
Hey, Dr. Marta, how are you on this cold and rainy day in Dallas?
I am cozy and warm in my little office.
Oh, with your lights on and everything, you're looking beautiful in your blue. Just great. Don't you love, one of the side benefits of all of this COVID stuff is that we've all learned how to meet without going out of our homes.
We have.
Yes, and we've made it work quite well. So today I want to have a little bit of fun. We want to start with a review. And I want to ask you maybe 3-4 questions to help bring to remembrance, and for those who weren't with us for the last 3 sessions, just kind of the important things that you have been telling us. So are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's start here. Question number 1, thermography versus mammogram. Now, I know you are biased because of your studies and your profession and what you do, but I also know that you have, you've always been very balanced in how you presented your point of view. And so I just think those who are following, I think our listeners would like to hear, what's the difference?
Absolutely. And so the main difference between thermography and mammography is that they give us completely different information. And so with a mammogram, we're actually looking at the tissues themselves. So we're seeing, is there something growing there? Isn't something growing there? And so with thermography, what we're getting is not only, it's not even about, is there something growing there yet? Because we want to catch things even before that happens.
Mm-hmm.
What we're looking at is small functional changes in the system. How are things functioning? And so what we get is a complete picture of all of the contributing factors to breast health.
Mhm.
And that gives us the ability to create a plan for what to do about the breast health, how to improve the breast health. And then the other things that are different is that thermography is non-invasive and radiation free and no mashing and squeezing.
A little more comfortable.
Yes, a little more comfortable.
Actually, a lot more comfortable.
Yes.
Absolutely. So for prevention, it's really important to get advance information even before there's oops, we found something. And that's really what we all want in any kind of a health scenario. You want to find out very early what little changes are happening in your body and what you can do about it.
For sure. And, I find with mammograms, some women really feel more comfortable having that extra layer of information.
Mhm.
I just like to make sure that people are aware of, what the implications are, what they're exposing their bodies to, and then to be able to make that decision from an informed place, right? And so, the two of them together can be a really powerful tool in detecting breast cancer. And but some people just don't want to be submitting themselves to that kind of radiation. So it's really just a choice. But I like people to make informed choices.
Informed choices. That's good. That's what all of the divas want, right?
Yes.
Informed choices. Okay, thank you. Question number 2. I found this fascinating. You contrasted the thermography process that you use with what other processes that might be out there, and that resonated with me because when I first started talking with my doctors, this is many, many years ago, and she was a natural doctor, about thermography. The first thing she said was, oh, if the person doesn't really know how to read the report, then those can be not helpful at all. And you really nailed that a couple of weeks ago when you talked about your process. And so, would you just kind of give us a little information on how you do it and how others might do it?
Yes. So a lot of the others in the thermography community are using camera thermography, which is good technology. It's been around for a long time, and so it could be useful. But what it's doing is it's taking an infrared image of the body, and very often of only just a part of the body. So you're not getting that complete picture. What we do, by contrast, is whole body thermography. So we're really looking at all of the organs, all of the tissues, all of the systems, and how they interact together. It gives us a complete understanding of the dental health, which, as we know, is crucially important to the overall health of the body. And so, it's just a lot more specific. We're also taking the temperature at the skin as opposed to just taking an infrared image. And so this allows us to be a lot more specific with our readings and to know really what's going on there, not to have to guess. There's a lot of guesswork that it takes out of it. Also, our technicians are very highly trained. It takes about 8 weeks just to train a technician to do the thermography test. And then to interpret thermograms, it takes, a year, sometimes 2, just to how quickly we move through that. But yeah, so we deeply train our technicians, and we've even trained, some of the people who have the type of machine that we use in our area. So we're also a training facility. So all of that taken together, means that you're really getting a good quality, not only a good quality report and a test, but also good quality interpretation too. And that is really important.
Wow, that's great, Dr. Marta. And I just, when you gave me the description of, who you were, what you do, you said doctor of naturopathy, certified thermography specialist, and educator. And the part of that I like the best is the education piece because,
Me too.
having someone who's a coach and an educator, I mean, that just elevates all of us. It gives us the greatest chance to take the best care of ourselves, and that's what we're all about. So
Very true.
thank you for that. Next question, and this was, one of, what is breast tissue anyway? I think most of us, if you had asked, before we began listening to you, we would have, I had thrown out, is it a muscle? I mean, but is it a muscle? Is it an organ? What exactly is breast tissue?
Yeah. And so breast tissue is basically ductile tissue, which means that it's a series of ducts, and also lymphatic tissue. So it's part of our lymphatic system. And then it's surrounded by some fatty tissue. And so we've got several different types of tissue going on there. But overall, the purpose of the breasts are to feed and nurture babies, right? And then also they're a nice place to lay your head on.
Very comforting.
So, comforting, nurturing, this is what they're designed for. And so really, and they're also made to flow, right? They're made to flow milk to feed an infant. And also as part of the lymphatic system, which is also made to flow. They need to be flowing and moving and everything not staying stagnant there. So that's really important to know about breast tissue also.
Excellent. And I was noticing while I played around on your website, you've got just all kinds of information and articles there, even massage techniques for keeping that flow going,
Yes.
and I was it just reminded me, we're always taught, how to check for lumps, but who has ever taught us how to massage in order to keep the flow?
Yes.
And I just feel so much more educated now. Thank you.
Well, and I will say that in Latin, the root of the word doctor is to teach. So that's actually our primary goal.
Primary goal is to teach. Well, that is great. Finally, I want to ask, briefly review, when we talked about the components of breast health, and you've also talked about prevention, how to prevent disease, which is really, I guess, the definition of health. Yeah. But give us a recap of what are the main things we want to do to absolutely stay healthy. And it sounds like if you can have a healthy body, that breast tissue is going to be healthy. And if you work on healthy breast tissue, the whole body is going to be healthy. So I love that part too. Would you elaborate?
Absolutely. And there are really 5 main things that we need to be considering when looking at overall general health, and that includes breast health. And those things include nutrition, so what do we eat? Hydration, how much water are you drinking and what kind of water you're drinking? That's very important. Physical activity, keeping our bodies moving, and also sleep. And so getting our sleep is really important. And then managing our stress. Managing our stress is so very important in the environment that we live in today. And so those 5 things, if we can really master those 5 foundations of health, then overall our bodies are going to stay healthy and our breasts will be healthy as well. And, there are some other simple things that we can do, like keeping the lymphatic system moving and things like that. But overall, if we can master those 5 things, we're going to be doing really well.
I think we'll be doing very well. And each of those 5 things is really a topic in and of itself.
Yes, it is.
Means we can keep working on this. We can keep working on this education, which is I really totally like that.
Most
so all I can say is, wow, those are great answers, a great review. I hope everybody has found it interesting to go back over these things. And now I just want to jump in our topics for today, and then we'll wrap things up, tie it with a great big pink bow. And that will be our Breast Health Awareness Month. So the topics that you have chosen for today: lymphatic therapies. And that'll be a great educational piece because most of us don't know what lymphatic is.
Very true.
And then the one that is intriguing to me, the psycho-emotional component of breast health. So take it away, Dr. Marta.
Sure. So the first thing we're going to talk about is lymphatic therapies. So these are things that you can do to keep your lymphatic system in top shape. And that's very important, not just for breast health, but really for overall health. One of the things that we see as one of the big root causes for dysfunction in the body in general is lymphatic health. So the lymphatic system being sluggish, not moving very well. And so it's a part of our immune system, right? It's a major part of our immune system. It is part of our endocrine system, and it's also part of our detoxification pathway. So it's really important to keep the lymphatic system healthy and moving. And so some of the things that we can do in order to do that are, we talked about, last time we talked about breast massage and lymphatic massage. And I'll actually post some links. There are a couple of really good self-lymphatic massages that people can do. And so I'll post some links on the Facebook site, and you can click on those and give you some good resources.
Right.
Another thing that we can do is the infrared sauna. So if you're not familiar with infrared saunas, they are different from your regular steam sauna or dry sauna that you see at the gym. Infrared saunas, the heat actually penetrates deeper into the body. And rather than heating the air, which causes kind of a convection effect, right? And then we breathe that hot air, and it's really hard to be in a hot space like that. But instead of doing that, it actually heats the body directly. So instead of breathing the hot air, we're actually absorbing the heat into the body. And so it penetrates a lot more deeply. And this actually stimulates regeneration of the organs and tissues. It helps the lymphatic system move. It helps detoxify the body. So it's good on a multitude of levels. And also very good for the cardiovascular system, by the way. But infrared sauna can be hugely beneficial.
If I could interrupt just for a moment, where do you go? What's the best way to get infrared sauna?
Well, the best way to get infrared sauna is to have one at home.
I knew you were going to say that.
But, not everybody has the space for that. Not everybody has the funds for that because they're a little expensive. So a lot of times you can find these infrared saunas at yoga studios. A lot of the cryogenic studios have infrared saunas also. So they have the cold therapy and they also have the heat therapy. And it feels really wonderful after getting out of that cold therapy, I'm sure.
I choose infrared, yes.
Yeah, I haven't been brave enough to do the cryotherapy. But yeah, you can find them at a lot of these types of places. I'm seeing some of them pop up at fitness centers now. Some selected places have them. And then I've found a few that are just infrared sauna studios. So they are out there. Google is our friend with that. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to do that right away.
Good.
That will be my follow-up assignment for myself after
Wonderful.
This session.
Good. Yes, I highly recommend it. And it feels great. And especially in this season, where it's a little cooler outside. It feels really wonderful. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. What else do you have to tell us?
So other things that we can do include rebounding. So a lot of people aren't familiar with rebounding. And, I kept seeing these little tiny trampolines and I thought, what is that for? What do you use that for? Well, it turns out that you use those for rebounding, and it's literally just to jump up and down on. And what that does is, because the lymphatic system doesn't have its own pump, that actually gets the lymphatic system moving. So it kind of shakes us up a little bit, and gets those things flowing. So rebounding can be really, really great. And so now that I know that, now that I've learned that, I actually went and bought my own rebounder. And I will say that it does make a huge difference. I really love it. So,
well, I stole mine once, and I'm going to have to go buy another one.
Yes.
I've got 2 things on my to-do list.
Yes. So, and for people who don't have an infrared sauna at their house, a rebounder is a whole lot easier to find space for and funds for.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's a lot of fun to jump on the trampoline too, so it can be a fun therapy. And really any kind of physical activity is going to be really helpful for the lymphatic system, just keeping the body moving. Because again, since it doesn't have a pump, it relies on our own movement. So really getting that physical activity in is a big plus as well. Another factor of lymph health is hydration. And I cannot stress hydration enough. Drinking really good water and drinking enough of it. It helps to keep the lymph from getting sticky and getting clogged up in the lymphatic system. So that's really important as well. Also, what do they call this? I can't think of it now. I'll have to look it up. I'll have to post that as well. I can't remember what it's called, but it's the alternating hot and cold therapies.
Yes.
So when you're taking a shower in the morning, you're taking a nice hot shower, if you finish with that cold, that actually will stimulate the lymphatic system to move. It also stimulates the vagus nerve, which innervates like our whole upper body. So that can make a really big difference for a lot of things. But and this is where, some of the things that we really do for lymphatic health are really good for other health as well, the health of the rest of the body. And that's one of the things as a naturopath that I look at. It's not just one part of the body that we're trying to get healthy. It's really impacting the overall health, because when you really get to those root causes and do the things that increase your overall health, you're going to help increase the overall health of those individual parts as well.
Isn't it wonderful the way we're made? I went once to a guy who was specializes in hair, a trichologist. And I just remember the one, he treats it by, natural means, hair and scalp. And one of the things he said, and this is just for women, I just had to throw this in. He said, yep, women will not take health advice, but if they start losing their hair, they'll do anything.
Very
and
true.
if you get the hair healthy, generally, you've got the whole body healthy. And so I think we're just so fully, every part works with every other part. And certainly breast health, which that's just, that is such an integral part of everything that we are as women. And so there you have it.
Yes. And we'll even talk more about that when we get to the psycho-emotional part of this, because that really, really plays into who we are as women, right?
Yes.
And, so we'll talk a little more about that too.
Okay, I can't wait. I'll shut up.
So a couple of other things, just to throw in there that can be really helpful are things like acupuncture. Acupuncture really gets the energetic flow moving in the body, and flow all works together. So if your energy flow is moving, then your lymphatic flow is going to be moving better, and everything else. So that can be really helpful also. Dry brushing is a really good technique to learn. Dry brushing just stimulates the skin and helps to stimulate the immune system underneath the lymphatic system. And so that can be a really good therapy. Also, one of the essential oils that's really good for the lymphatic system, actually it's called the queen of the lymphatic system, is laurel leaf. And laurel leaf, a lot of times I will take a few drops of the laurel leaf oil and put it in a little carrier oil and use that as a massage oil when I'm doing my own self-lymphatic massage. And so that just helps stimulate that lymphatic system even further. So it can be really powerful to be doing that self-lymphatic massage along with the laurel leaf oil.
Yes. Do you know if laurel leaf has another name?
I'm sure it probably does.
Okay, I have to look that up and make sure I get the right one, because that's one I'm not familiar with, but I'm gonna get there.
Yeah. And so that's another thing that we can do is on the Facebook site. I'll go look and find the actual Latin name for it.
Absolutely.
A lot of times if you can find it by the Latin name, then you can make sure that you're absolutely getting the right thing.
Perfect. I will do that. Yeah. Okay. So that's lymphatic. Are we ready? Are we ready to jump into the last topic?
Oh, let's do.
Okay, go for it.
So you had wanted me to talk a little bit about the psycho-emotional component to breast health. And that's really important because there is really a big psycho-emotional component. And this is really interesting. So thoughts are created in the brain, right? And then emotions are created in the limbic system. And the limbic system is kind of in part of the brainstem. It's part of our primal brain. And so when the limbic system stimulates emotional responses, then it actually creates some actual biodynamic changes in our body. So these create different patterns, right? So if we're experiencing emotion over and over and over and over, it's really going to start to affect these biochemical changes. And when we have biochemical changes in the body, we know that this leads to dysfunction, right?
Yes.
So our emotions have a lot to do with what's going on with us physically as well. I
Mm,
see this over and over in practice. A lot of people come to me and they're having issues, and a lot of the root of their issues are emotional. And so we
mm,
really have to work on that emotional component of things as well. And then even to take that a little bit further, what we were talking about a little earlier about, our breasts are actually part of our identity as women.
yeah.
And I see this with a lot of breast cancer survivors who have opted to have the mastectomy or even a bilateral mastectomy, and it's a very traumatic experience, and it's something that women carry with them the rest of their lives.
Mhm.
And so really, if we can avoid that for even one woman, I'm happy to do that, because it can really make a big difference to how we feel about ourselves, about our own self-image, our body image. And it takes a lot to recover from that trauma.
Yeah.
So we want to avoid that trauma if at all possible.
Mm,
But our emotions have a huge impact on things that happen in our body. We can get stuck energies in our body that are because of our emotions. Chinese medicine, for the last couple thousand years that it's been in use, has always said that certain emotions are associated with certain organs of the body.
yes.
And many, many studies have borne this out over the years. In a lot of cases with natural medicine, especially, we've anecdotally known that these things work, but now the science is beginning to catch up
Mm,
and to be able to tell us why it works.
yes.
And so a lot of the science has validated a lot of the things that we always knew, but now we know the why of it. So we really know that, in a lot of cases, different emotions are associated with different parts of the body. And in the case of the breasts, the emotions that are associated with the breasts are emotions of nurture, not surprisingly, because
Mhm, that
breasts
works.
are, right? So they're very much for nurturing. They're for, feeding and comforting an infant. And as we said earlier, how many of us have laid our heads on our mom's bosoms and it's comforting and it's warm and it's just what they're made for.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
yeah. So generally, the emotions that are associated with breast dysfunction are emotions of lack of nurture. And this might be lack of nurture for ourselves,
Mhm,
feeling like we're not nurtured by life or by our families or, by people that are close to us. Or it may be that we feel like we've not been able to nurture somebody enough.
mhm,
Very often I find that women who are estranged from their children or who, feel like there's some kind of a break there, are experiencing dysfunction in the breasts. And interestingly, there's a difference between the right breast and the left breast. And in general, our right side tends to be associated with the male side of us, and the left side tends to be associated with the female side of life. And
mhm.
so, isn't that interesting?
That is fascinating.
Yeah. And so when we're seeing dysfunction in the left breast, very often this is associated with a relationship with other women in our lives.
Mhm,
Sometimes our relationship with ourselves, because we are women, but often we also see that this has to do with things associated with family life, with our nurturing, with our family life, things like that, things that are generally considered feminine roles, because we're kind of taught those roles, right? And so we internalize that, and we take those things to heart. And then the right side is more associated with our relationships with the men in our lives, or with our relationship with our work outside the home. So how many women have gone to work in the corporate world and tried to make it a man's world, right? In male-dominated industries. And, we see over and over that women who have spent their lives doing these things and trying to become more, that male-dominated role, tend to have dysfunction more in the right breast. And yeah, it really is. And we see it over and over, and again, these things are not just anecdotal anymore. They're actual studies that people are doing that bear this out. So it's very interesting how much our emotions really have to do with our breast health. And, in a lot of cases, a lot of this is also programming that we receive from society. Programming that we're not enough, we're not good enough, we're not pretty enough, we're not smart enough, and we're told these things over and over and over, and we tend to internalize these things. And this causes belief systems like, well, I'm not good enough, therefore I don't deserve nurture, I don't deserve, comfort. And so this manifests itself in dysfunction in the breasts. And so part of really keeping our breasts healthy is doing those things that nurture us. We're very much taught that we need to, as women, give and give and give and give and give, and never ask for anything for ourselves. But really that is causing a lot of dysfunction for a lot of women.
Mm-hmm.
And so really taking the time to do those things that really nurture ourselves, and even asking for that, from our families and from our loved ones, and saying, look, this is what I need to be happy, and this is what I need to be healthy. That's okay to do. It's actually a very healthy way to interact with people. And, we've been taught a completely different model. So it takes a lot for us to get there, but even starting with just little small things,
Right.
Scheduling some time into your day every day to do something that just nurtures you and makes you happy. Even if it's just, taking a few minutes to breathe, or, taking a minute to read a book that you enjoy, or whatever that might be, but really scheduling that time into our day is important.
Dr. Marta, you have said more than a mouthful, and it just reminds me of why we as women need each other, because you're not going to get this kind of information watching TV or sitting around in a family circle, but because most of our mothers didn't know this.
True.
Most of our old, our aunts and the women that we hang out with, but you've really hit on exactly what Dynamic Divas of Destiny is all about. It's about women coming together and figuring it out all together, bringing in the women like you and other, even men who can inform us and to help us with all of this. Because, as you begin learning, you get a thirst for more. Yeah. I want to know more, and I want to be with those people who are going to give me more, and it just kind of grows and grows. And ultimately you keep that up and you end up one totally happy chick.
Yes. And I find too that, when you start to educate women, they go, oh, I have to share this.
Yes.
And they start to educate.
We can't keep anything to ourselves, can we?
Yes. And they pass it down, and they give it to their daughters, and they give it to their nieces. And, so really educating women. I've always said that women are the gatekeepers for family health. Women tend to, they learn something and they're like, oh, I have to share this with my family. This is going to help everybody that I know. So we're really good about nurturing and sharing that with people.
We started off teaching our baby dolls when they were, we line them up and make them learn.
Yes.
So we've been practicing since we were very, very young.
Very much so.
Oh my goodness. Amazing. How would you even wrap up that topic just in a sentence or two?
Well, I would just say, we do as women have to look out for each other. So, really encouraging each other to stop and take a minute. And what are you doing for yourself? What are you doing to feed
Mhm.
yourself? And not just feed yourself physically, but feed yourself emotionally, feed yourself spiritually. What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to? And really taking the time to share that with each other and be each other's support system is so, so important. And, we can really help each other and encourage each other. And, when we have a friend who's struggling, to stop and say, hey, how can I help you so that you can take the time for yourself? Because that's so, so important.
Thank you very much. And of course, we have resources for you.
Yes.
The first resource right here, Dynamic Divas of Destiny, and another resource that has just a wealth of information is thermographycenter.com. And there are many, many more. And as we've mentioned, all I can say is, wow, that's my new favorite word. Just wow. The stuff that I learned and the things that just are coming to those of us who are out there seeking information has just been amazing. So want to ask and just invite everyone, put your comments in the chat. We will respond and we will answer questions, and we want to hear from everyone. This is a facility, a social media place where we exchange information and we learn and we grow together. And the final thing I want to say is we're not going to have another Wednesday of Dr. Marta in the evening, but this will not be the last time we hear from her, because she has touched on too many phenomenal topics that we just want to know more of. So we're going to circle back to you, Dr. Marta, on so many other things, because you have an ability to enlighten and educate us. And that's what we want. We're going to get that in the future. So thank you.
I'm happy to join you anytime.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. And that's all for tonight. I want to say this is Gail White. I am signing off, but I want everyone to stay tuned. There's more, much, much more. We're going to talk about mindset. Dr. Marta definitely touched on some of that. We're going to talk about more health issues. And one of the things we're going to do in November is really get into that wealth topic too, because there is a direct link. If you mentioned several things tonight that, yes, if you have the money, you could get your infrared sauna right in your house. So the health promotes wealth and wealth promotes health. And we're going to talk about all of that because we are the dynamic divas of destiny. So thank you so much, Dr. Marta. And for everyone listening, stay tuned. Gail White saying goodbye for now.